patents including Qualcomm, Nokia, and AT&T Semiconductor. He has been a driving force in the development, integration, and global commercialization of products and services that define the modern wireless world. His expertise covers the entire spectrum of connectivity from 2G, 3G, 4G to 5G, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth. His expertise he also has hands-on experience in incredibly vast fields: hardware, semiconductor design, advanced sensors, including camera, imaging, GPS, and biosensors. Emerging tech, such as AI, AR, VR technologies, complex processes, including FDA approval, cloud services, and global regulatory certification. Throughout his entire career, he has collaborated with semiconductor technology firms, wireless service providers, and global industry standards organizations, demonstrating a unique ability to turn complex technology into essential business solutions. Let's please hear a big round of applause for Mr. Bharat Shah. And to lead us through this special conversation today, we have our three dynamic moderators: Ishwari Kulkarni, who will be representing the past, Mr. Jay Jani, who will be representing the future, and Bharat Shah, who will be representing the future. Let us please begin with our talk, sir. We're thrilled and excited to hear what you have to say.
Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, and good to see a lot of people attending this one in a very short notice. And thanks to the student ambassador setting it up very quickly in less than 2 days. Hopefully, you all had a very good exams last week. So that's the reason we did not schedule anything last week. Now, again, just to again like what was in my introduction, before I start anything, just wanted to ask a question, general question to the audience here. What is AI? Can anybody just again just raise your hand if somebody want to say what is AI? What do you know about AI or what is AI? Just in a less than 30-second answer.
I can
Accept you guys.
I can tell you only the abbreviation.
So actually what Gupta ji said, actually that's the thing that we, again, alumni may not know what is AI, but you guys should know. You guys are learning it, you are experiencing it, and you will know what is AI. And again, in my Q&A later on, which I will talk about some of the things that what I have seen in the, since my career, including the studies, but also the career and the current situation, what is going on, and the future, which is really scary. So we will talk about that.
Good afternoon, sir. I'll start with the first question. Sir, in your initial years, what was the one skill that you ignored, thinking that it wasn't important, but later realized that it mattered a lot?
Very good question. Again, this is the experience that I gone through here in the electronics engineering course, which I did in 1980. One of the course was on microwave and RF. And I could not understand anything about RF or microwave. And then when I started my career as a software engineer, then I joined Nokia. Again, some of you may remember Nokia was one of the largest and modern company that time in a wireless cellular phone, right? So when I joined the company, I was writing the software. But then I had to understand the RF, microwave. Then after working so many, almost 8 to 9 years in Nokia, I did not know about RF. So I had to learn RF. I had to learn because of the wireless technology. So one thing that which I would tell you that if you ignore anything now, in future it will come back to you. Again, this is just one example that which I can give you And even just recently, since last 2 years, I'm doing a project on as a consultant on RF. Okay, when you look at the cell towers, how many people have seen cell towers which are here and everywhere, right? Some of them are on the terraces, right? It's a big, it generates the EMF, magnetic frequency, right? Which is harmful to the brain, harmful to the body. If you are in certain distance between that, it really impacts your body. And even when you see the RF antenna on the terraces, people ignore that. I mean, that's not good for the human being. So anyway, what just giving you an example of, and again, which I did not learn, which I ignored completely, but I got the good marks. That's the most important that part. But then I had to learn myself.
Great. So moving on with my next question. So you have worked with service providers, equipment vendors, and standard bodies. How did this wide exposure shape the way you approached your problems?
So again, working at Nokia and working at Qualcomm and everything, at that time the 2G technology started, which is more on analog to digital transition on the wireless side, right? So then because of the engineering background, and this is what I will tell people all the time, that if you are an engineer, you have to look at everything. How does it work? Regardless of, like, again, there is a camera, there is a fan going on, there is an AC going on. When you are driving a car, when you are driving a motorcycle, everything, right? There is a lot of mechanism going on, lot of moving parts, lot of things happening. It's all engineering. So then when I joined the wireless industry, I say, okay, let me understand more. Then at that time there was a need in the standards body, because standards body sets up the wireless standards, which will be going through the whole, like 2G, 3G, all the kind of things. So when I started, I said, this may be a good way for me to learn the new technology, at the same time how it is going to be implemented in the future. So that's the reason which I started in going into standards body. So generally standards body sets the standards. It takes almost 3 to 4 years to even develop it, deploy it, and the commercialize for another, like 5 to 10 years. So that's the kind of a range. But when you develop something, then you feel good that, okay, you see the development and the commercialization of it. So just to give you an example, okay, when I was working at Qualcomm, that time India started with the Reliance. Again, this is in 2004-5, the first time the Reliance and Tata wanted to deploy wireless technology based on the CDMA. So I got the opportunity to work with the Reliance team here. So I used to come every quarter and work with the people in the Reliance and Tata and everything, explaining the technology, what are the commercial products available, what are the things available. So this is like, again, working with the service provider. And because what I have done in the US, working with the service provider, I had a very good experience. But to do a kickstart, jump start to that level, it was a great experience. And the second thing which I feel proud about it, because I grew up here, learned here, so I feel good that I can be really good, helpful to the India to deploy the wireless technology based on the cellular phone. Now you can see these devices, right? Previously there was no devices like this, right? So anyway, these are the kind of a thing which I feel good about it. But again, going back to the questions, and as an engineer, you have to look at it, what you want to do, what are the things that you can make a change, but you have to learn. Again, one of the things that which I'm still learning right now, what is AI, by the way. So that's the reason I asked the question. And if somebody can teach me, I like to learn it from them.
Wonderful. Now, I was personally waiting for this question. In a fast moving industry like wireless, how did you decide when to stay in a role and when to move on?
Well, good question. So initially I started as a software engineer in the wireless industry. Then I say, okay, I want to learn more technology, so I started working in the standards area. But then once you develop the standards, it takes several years to deploy it. So then I said, okay, let me work on the with the technology background and the business and how we can do it. So then there was no title called technical marketing anywhere in the company or anywhere. So I started doing both, the technical side and marketing side. But before that, one of the things that I got the opportunity to look at the entire system of the wireless, end-to-end system. How does the phones are designed? What is the entire baseband system? What is the RF system? How does it work? How does it put together in a small form factor, right? But then when you make a call, so just some question to audience here, if somebody can answer. Let's say I'm making a call to you. Do you know how the signal goes? How long it takes to process everything and come back to you? So again, these are the kind of things you have to think as an engineer. Even though person is sitting next to me, but the call goes to the cell tower, there's a lot of processing going on. There's a continuous communication between currently right now with the phone and cell tower. And then the phone, cell tower monitors what's going on, right? So again, there is a lot of communication, but then from the cell tower, there is an entire, I call it the switching center. So the data goes to the switching center, comes back to you. So just think about it. The round trip delay, you don't feel that okay, there is a delay even when you make a voice calls. And again, I can talk about on some of the things which I work on the speech codec initially. What was it? Because it was a circuit switch data and then moved to the packet data. So I got opportunity to see the transition from in the wireless industry, circuit switch data to packet data and all these things. And again, think about it. What we do now with the phone is all data. Right? Everything is data.
That was really insightful, sir. What kind of career decision turned out to be the most impactful in the long run? Planned ones or unplanned opportunities?
Unplanned one. Because I never thought that I'll be working for a wireless company. I did not know what is wireless at that time. Again, in San Diego, I was doing the software engineering in a industry which was more on a backup devices. And then a company called Nokia came and started doing a hiring process. And I said, what is Nokia? It seems like some Russian name, but it was a Finnish company. And then I joined the company, and then this was not planned that okay, I'll be working in a wireless industry. And even before that wireless industry, interesting, I was doing the software, but then I joined the company called AT&T Semiconductor, which was doing a semiconductor processing, making the chip in Pennsylvania. So I got experience in semiconductor, and that experience is still really helpful to me right now.
So unplanned things really do work out better.
Yes.
Looking back at your early projects, which experience taught you more than any textbook or classroom ever could?
I would say the classroom, let us go back. When you do the study in a college, there is a textbook you do it. That teaches you the fundamental. You have to have fundamental. But then how to use the fundamental in a different application, services, it is all experience or knowledge that you have to gain or you have to learn. Textbooks are not going to give you those kind of information at all. Textbooks are textbooks which gives you all the fundamental knowledge, and you have to have fundamental knowledge. like the some of the things which I was talking about. I never knew the speech codec. What is speech codec means? I wish I would have learned those kind of in the textbook. And then, it's an audio technology. And there was again, naturally, there are no courses available in the university that you can learn it. Even in the semiconductor, and just think about it, semiconductor is one of the biggest growing industry right now in the world. Since last almost, I would say 15 to 20 years, 15 years, it has grown trajectorily so good. This is a hockey stick. You cannot find engineers who can design the semiconductor. Design, development, validation, and manufacturing. Every aspect is different in semiconductor industry. There is no university that provides those kind of detailed courses at all. You have to learn it. So one of the things that which I can tell you guys, textbook is not going to tell you how to do it. You have to understand or figure it out where you can learn all this, the design principles, like how to design the DSP, how to design the microprocessor, how to design it. Once you know the fundamentals, you will learn very quickly what it means.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, moving on with the present scenario. Everyone talks about 5G like it's revolution. But for us, it's just like smoother reels or faster video calls. So, from an insider's view, what is the coolest thing that 5G does that normal people don't usually talk about?
So again, let me take you back with the 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G. What is the 2G? What did 3G do? What did the 4G did? And what is 5G doing it? Basically, when you are utilizing any device for consumer or any businesses, digitization, with the digitization, there is a lot of data to be processed, right? So the wireless industry work on the data. How do you transmit the data at a higher speed? Once you transmit the data, but then the processing in the network is the biggest challenge. And so to improve on all these things, industry came together and defined a roadmap. Generally, when they define the roadmap, it's a 10-year roadmap. So that's what they designed. So right now, we are in 2026. But now people are working on 6G right now, right? But 6G, again, they are working on it. It may not be commercialized until 10 years down the road, right? But looking into the future, if you set up the infrastructure, overall system, then people can utilize some of the applications. So just to give you an example of, again, when I was working for Nokia made a communicator. There was a communicator, it's like it was a flip with a keypad, and it was like a computer, right? And it did not circulate at all. It was so heavy, so complicated, and the system will not support because it was a circuit switch data. You cannot transmit data so fast enough. The battery doesn't last long. So then the technology, once you define the standards into how do you do the high-speed data processing, you have to make sure that how the processing is done inside the devices. So thanks to the semiconductor industry, came up with all these, again, I'm not sure whether you are familiar with nanometer technologies, that you cram, I call it a cram in a simple word, all these circuitry in a very small, tiny things, right? There is now people are working on 2 nanometer technology, meaning it's so tiny chip that can process so many things very fast at a low power. So now, if you don't set up the goals for next 10 years, you are not going to work on it. Now talking about the 4G, 3G to 4G was the biggest change in the wireless industry. 4G to 5G is not big from the consumer aspect, but from the business aspect, from the network aspect, is much better designed in that way. The second important thing in the 5G part is that uh, in the wireless industry, there are so many frequency bands. So you can utilize certain bands based on what government decides everywhere in the world and everything. So there's a lot of things I can talk about on that. But the way the 5G design that you can have a same baseband can support multiple RF frequencies. And that was not there in 4G. So that's the change. As a consumer, you won't see that. But in the phone, and this is one of the questions that maybe you can do ask ChatGPT or the Google or anybody, how many RF components or RF bands are supported in this device? Just look at it. You'll be, it's just mind-boggling. So I'm not going to give you the answer, but this is what the technology does it. At the same time, you can get very high speed. So the difference between 4G and 5G is you can have the data station completed very quickly, so you can free up the spectrum so other user can do it. Otherwise, you are hogging the spectrum and you cannot support multiple users. So that is a big change. As a consumer, you won't notice it.
I'm sure no one gave a thought to this. So, sir, my second question is that everywhere I go, I hear that India's AI industry, India's semiconductor industry, India's electronics industry is booming right now. So, having worked with global giants like Qualcomm and AT&T, do you see this moment as a real inflection point, or there are some tough realities that we students need to see it?
Well, it's both. And one of the things which I would suggest to you that I just saw today that next week there is a big conference in AI conference in New Delhi. I just saw the headline that all the hotel rooms are booked for whatever reason anyway. But so think about it. AI is coming quickly than anybody can think. Even I was talking to some of the people, my ex-colleague at Qualcomm or even ex-colleague at some of the things. They are scared. They don't know how fast it's coming. Even they are working on this, whatever they are working on it for less than 10, 15 years. The AI tools coming in is changing their whole work style and everything. They have to learn it. The challenge is, where do they go and learn it? There is no school that can offer the courses. And maybe this guy can also tell you about working at Google and YouTube, how fast the things are changing. Now, one of the things, don't get scared, because this is the way it happened in the past, but it took long time to implement it. With the AI, there are two engines going on. Like again, what I was talking about, the conference in next week here, even in the January Las Vegas conference, CES. Lot of talks since last 2 years on AI, right? Still taking long time to implement, deploy it, or how people can utilize it. You can hear a YouTube video of Elon Musk, what he's talking about robotics and everything. It is happening. It takes time. It's not easy. Now, whether you get scared or not, I would say don't get scared, but start learning now. And that's the reason I asked the question, what is AI? Just think about it. Let's say, if you are doing personally any task from morning to night, if you can monitor that, collect all the data, put it in some kind of your handmade computer or something and just create the algorithm. It will be like, again, you can repeat the same thing again and again. The second thing, then you can do it on the improvement of it. How you can utilize, how you can do your daily routine much better. So then you add more parameters. So again, think about all these things. You have to be more logical thinking first, and then see how you can implement those kind of things, whether yourselves or any applications or services. The good part is with the AI, the processors, the hardware is so fast, running so fast, it gives you data results right away. So don't get scared, but learn understand what's going on. Again, just giving the example at the CES, this year the theme was robotics. Now we have a robotics club here, right? I mean, just think about this going for last 2-3 years now, right? More, right? So we are working on the robotics already. But now what you can do with it, that is the next thing. And are you going to duplicate the same thing what a human can do? Probably not all the way. Human has the 5 senses, right? Just think about it. How much robot can do? Only 2. Third one is in development. Fourth one, I don't know when we have one. Fifth one, I don't know. So again, your 5 senses are there. So think about it, what you can do with all your 5 senses. Again, as an engineer, think about it, what is available right now, what will be available in future. And robot will not replace the human thinking. I mean, that is given. It's all good. Yeah. Okay, I'm leaving.
Sir, being very honest with it, at this point even my dog is scared of AI. So sir, my next question is that you work deeply with sensors, heat sensors and gyros, etc. So today our cars, our earbuds, our phones, everything is packed with sensors. So if you had to choose this one product which is using its sensors brilliantly, so what would it be and why?
I think, first question I will ask as an engineer, how many sensors are in this device? 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. How many? Anyway, you can ask a question to Google and get the answer. So the first sensor that what I worked on it and I feel proud about it and which is being used everywhere globally is the GPS, location services. Think about it. If the GPS satellite goes down, what will happen in the world? If you are ordering something, if you are going somewhere, you're using the Google Maps, what will happen? Even aircraft use GPS. So GPS, and giving the some example, when I was working at a Qualcomm, Qualcomm developed the technology with the GPS integration into the wireless phone. So then, as a technical marketing, I was working with the service provider, and we said we can integrate these GPS sensors into the phone. The service provider, which I'm not going to name it, said, "Oh, it's going to cost you a lot of money to put it in the phone. Phone will be costly, will not have a lot of battery time." They said, "Oh, okay, this is the first product, and we are going to work on some of the things what required later on." And you can see now that your phone has GPS, right? Again, now, how does the GPS work? So as an engineer, you guys should look at it in how does the GPS work? If you are in a building, you don't have a clear signal to the satellite. So there are different ways that it has been implemented. There are a lot of ways that, I can talk about it a lot on that, but it will take a lot of time. But the GPS receiver is implemented in this one. It's a receiver only. It's not a transmitter, right? So that's why it doesn't take a lot of power and energy and everything. But still, one of the things we are missing in a GPS or the location technology wise is that if you are in a building, if you are in a 20-story building, if you are on a 20th floor, you don't know the exact location where you are in the GPS, from the GPS. So almost 8 years back, there was a mandate in the US for E911 services should be within the 10 millimeters of the device of the person located. And then people develop the technology, the platform wise, I'm talking about not just the phone only. And it has been implemented, but it has not been commercialized. So if the Zomato want to deliver a delivery, if you are on a 20th floor, how do they find out where you are? Again, so just think about it. Again, these are the kind of a thing that the technology is there, sensors are there, right? How you can utilize it in such a way that it can be helpful for any services, right? So now there are so many other sensors, but the GPS one is more practical. That's the reason which I like it.
So, sir, my next question is that we keep hearing that software is eating the world, especially with AI all around us. So, from a hardware perspective, is this really making our lives harder? Like, are chips and sensors under more pressure to keep up ever to like with the new software wants?
Well, good question on hardware and software. And actually, since so many years, software was the king. I call it a king, but because you can change so many things in a software that you cannot do it in hardware. Now it is other way around. With this semiconductor technology, you can implement some of the things in hardware so fast, it doesn't take long anymore. Previously, to do a semiconductor design and come up with a chip and everything, validating it, testing it, and fabrication, it was taking so long. That cycle has changed significantly. And just to give you an example, I'm talking about on semiconductor, and this is very good for Baroda and for MSU University, I can tell you. When Prime Minister Modi was Chief Minister in Gujarat, and this is when he started. And again, this took this many years, right? So for a semiconductor plant, there are two main things required. One is water, one is electricity. And previously, I mean, some of us, we know that in Gujarat, electricity was the biggest challenge, right? In the industry, water always is shortage and everything. So when the Prime Minister Modi, when he was the Chief Minister, he created all these resources in Gujarat. Now you can see the thought and the implementation was given that Gujarat is becoming a semiconductor hub for a lot of industries. The challenge now that we all face, even that was the reason that time. Nobody has a vision 10 years back even how to develop the talent who can help in the semiconductor industry. Not just design only, even the manufacturing, to set up the manufacturing unit is so complicated. The semiconductor equipments are in billions of dollars and it's not easy plant. And that's why US has been struggling for so many years. US could not do it. Only thing that was done in Taiwan and China. And they were so successful. Still Taiwan is number one. And the good part is that Taiwanese and all those companies are coming in India to set up the factories, right? So, but the biggest challenge is, which scares me most, is there is no talent available. Just to give you my example, when I was at Qualcomm, this was in 2006 something, yeah. My boss, who was the CEO for our division, asked me to find a R&D center set up in India. So then I said, okay, where should I go? My first one was, let's set it up in Baroda. Then we have to look at the entire ecosystem. Can we get a talent? And I did a lot of research. I could not find that we can get talent in Baroda. So then at that time, we had a three choice: Pune, Hyderabad and Bangalore. Bangalore was already short of talents because a lot of companies were coming. We said no to Bangalore. Pune, we got a really good reception from the University of Pune. They wanted us to be there because they said they can have the curriculum based on what the Qualcomm wants. But then we chose Hyderabad, and we set up the center in Hyderabad, and I feel proud about it that now Qualcomm Hyderabad has grown so much. But the thing is still in Hyderabad. I can tell you, even in Bangalore, you can't find the semiconductor talent. Everybody's struggling. So people are jumping over from one company to other. Attrition is so high, and that is not good for the industry, but good for the people, employees, right? The thing that again like recently talked to the VC, our new VC, that how we can enable some of the semiconductor courses which can be available here. So let's hope we can get some of the courses available here through either company sponsor or whatever. These are not the traditional degree courses. This is just to get the jump start to understand the technology or the know-how of the semiconductor design processes in the manufacturing.
Great answer, sir. So, sir, my next question is, as you were talking about 6G previously in previous question, you have and nowadays many companies, Nokia, Samsung has already started researching on 6G, and then estimated launch is in 2030. So, what is one major limitation of 5G that makes 6G necessary?
Actually, there are no limitation of 5G. This is the roadmap which is developed by ITU, and generally they meet every 2 years. And I was lucky enough to participate in one of those meetings, and you can see the thinking of some of the people, and what is, again, think 10 years down the road, right? So that's the way now 5G has been deploying, right? You can see 5G almost everywhere now, except in some villages, it still is 4G. Even when I was visiting Statue of Unity, I can get 5G one place, I can get 4G. Then I was telling somebody over there, why don't you get the full coverage of 5G? You can get a lot of benefit. But again, there is a cost and other things involved. Talking about the 6G, yeah, there is a need for 6G. But one of the things to understand is there is a lot of research goes on all this technology. It's not just a wireless technology. What does it, again, to do the meet the requirement of some of the future services that are available and everything, right? So that in mind, and also the biggest challenge in the world is the frequency limitation. Everywhere in the world, there is no, government has to auction more frequency each time to get more users onto the system, on the wireless system. Now, when you go in a higher frequency band, you don't get good coverage. At the same time, that you get good capacity, but there is no coverage, right? And it requires more power. So you have to work on all those technology. The second important part is, which is, participate in the standards body, is that when you design something, you file the patent, and then you try to push your patent into the standards. So the whole purpose is a business sense that once your patents goes into standards, if you implement in your devices, you have to pay the royalty to the people who are using the technology. So the country base also, like India, US, Korea, China, they are all working on this kind of patents. Companies generate the patents, try to get into the standards, and then it takes long time to implement and everything. But then they get royalty based on the devices sell or the implementation in the network and all this. So those are the things goes in parallel, which is not known to the engineers or the people who are developing it, but it's more on the business side of it.
Great answer, sir. So moving towards the next question, what is the one mistake young engineers are making today that could hurt them in future?
Well, again, this is what I tell my kids also. So it's not just you guys only, but if you, you have the device, okay, you can use it for your own purpose, entertainment purpose, or whatever. But then, how much time you spend on doing something which is useful for you, or which is an entertainment for you, or which is just like spending some time for no reason, right? So one thing I noticed this time when I'm visiting India, again, this is same thing which I noticed it earlier, but this was more pronounced because the phones are, again, more available, cheaper, and you can watch so many things, and the data prices came down and other things. People are like, again, a rickshaw driver or taxi driver, or who are just sitting around, just watching on the phone, watching something and everything, right? Now, is that good for them? Maybe, again, for whatever they want to do it. But as an engineer, I'm not sure if it is a waste of time or not. Right? The second thing is that look at as an engineer, how you can use this device or the tools you have available much more beneficial for you, or doing some creative things. Now you can take the video, you can do all these things. You can generate like a very short film on your phone now with the, Gemini 3. It's so powerful you can create it. So what will happen to the movie industry? I have no idea. So anyway, but that is for entertainment, right? But are you learning something or not? But one of the things that really happened now, all these universities in US are giving online courses free. Now, hope you guys find time to look at those courses or learn something. It's free. You are not paying anything except you are utilizing your wireless data and those things which is cheap now. But utilize on your purpose what to do with it. One of the things still I don't understand, which is going on for so many years in India, when you are in a motorcycle, everybody talking on the phone. I still don't understand how the other side is hearing you clearly. So much noise going on. Again, so somebody can tell me how to filter the noise, the background noise. And this is one of the things we did in the CDMA technology, filtered the background noise at some level. But at the same time, you want to feel that you are in a same environment that you are calling from, right? Now, somebody can think about something and come up with an idea. How, when somebody is driving on a motorcycle, filter out the noise so the other side can hear you properly what you want to talk about, right? So to me, somebody should come up with the idea, because this is more practical to the country here. It's not in the US, we are in a closed car, there's no noise and everything. Actually, one of the things I can tell you, in Tesla, they came up with, again, Tesla is a software company now, it's not hardware company, by the way. So some of you may know or not, but so when you are in a car, then AC going on, fan going on. So when you are on a phone, you can hear the third party, the noise, right? So what they did, they come up with a feature. When you are on, they made it a default. You can turn off that fan noise. So it's that automatic. So user doesn't have to set it up anything. So again, think about those kind of things that you can do to utilize your time much better or learn something always. Like again, what I was telling you, people here also that we are learning every day something new, and learning never stops. So I'm still trying to learn ChatGPT and now Gemini 3, and actually the Geo here is providing a Gemini 3 free subscription. In the US they charge. I said, okay, let me learn here. So I'm learning it also right now here.
Great answer, sir. So moving to the next question. If you were starting your engineering degree in today's 2026, which field would you choose and why?
Wow, that's a difficult question. So one of the things which I was thinking also, in this design phone, right? Engineering wise, how many branches of engineering has contributed into this phone? Every branch of the engineering is into this phone. Not just a phone, I'm talking about wireless technology communication. So, somebody said there is no civil engineering here. No, there is civil engineering. If you don't set up a cell site, which is done by civil engineers, right? Your phone is a paperweight, right? So think about it. Now, chemical engineering, materials engineering, okay, the screen. This is a screen. It took so many years to develop it. Previously, in even 3G technology time, there was no screen like this. So think about from the engineering aspect, all these things that available. Now, somebody can master in the civil engineering, some can master in mechanical engineering, like what Anuba is doing in a specialized component, everything. These are some of the things that is required to run, everything, right? Again, just think about everything. Even like again, we are sitting here in this conference room, right? Air conditioning. What is air conditioning? Right? Mechanical, chemical, everything. Electrical. How do you set it up, the whole thing, right? Now the audio system here, right? So now it requires sound technology engineers, electrical engineers, right? Electronics is there everywhere, but now everything is coming into the way that any product you develop, it requires multiple branches of engineering. Interestingly, when I was coming here, walking here in the Kalabhavan, I saw the things which I was doing it when I did the civil engineering course. People were in the civil engineering course using the chain to measure it. I said, is that the right way to utilize it now? There's a technology available, you can do the measurement with your phone or device, and you can say from here to that distance is 9.6 meters or something. Right? Now, again, whatever is this course is and practical is fine, but how do you utilize those technology tools available into these practical things rather than just learning something that which is there in the textbook, everything? So what I'm saying, that textbook is there for the courses to get the grade, but grade is important, but whatever you learn or do the practical training is more important in your life. So doesn't matter which branch of engineering you do it, do a practical training and figure it out. Even though you are a civil engineer, you can do the practical training in the mechanical side or something else, right? But you have to have multi-talent or multi-aspect from the engineering aspect. That's what I'm thinking about. So it's not only one branch. If you're just in chemical engineering, then bachelor's, master, yeah, if you want to do PhD and everything is fine. Again, so continue on that route, which is really needed. And again, just to give you my example, when we are meeting with the HODs few days back, last week with Rajesh Matrani when he came, we were all, they were all the professors, and I was looking around, I said, everybody has a PhD. I don't have a PhD. I was feeling so bad that I don't have a PhD. But then I said, no, no. I have a good experience in the industry, practical knowledge. Practical knowledge counts more than the degree also. Sometimes it's more helpful. And again, just look at from the what you can create for yourself or for the community or for your businesses in future. There's a lots of opportunity available. One thing which I can tell you what I used to do also, and this is just my personal example, when I was in Nokia and then Qualcomm also, I said, okay, there was a lot of things about pattern. Okay, so then I said, okay, let me think about what can I do to generate a pattern. So then I said, okay, on my birthday, every year, I say, okay, let me write something based on what in the past year, what I did or what can be patentable. So, again, my birthday is January always. So then I sit down on that day, write something based on something, and then I go to the patent engineering group, patent group, and say, okay, is this patentable or not? And luckily, some of them I got the patent. So, I just made my goal. I said, okay, this is what I want to do. Doesn't matter. Again, this is reflecting backwards. Say what was missing, what can be done, and the patterns there are different types of pattern. Some of them are research related, some of them are utility pattern. So it doesn't matter. It's a utility pattern or research related, but something you can feel proud about it that you can do it based on your understanding as an engineer. Doesn't matter what field you are in. I was doing the software engineer, but then after I started writing the code, I still don't know how to write the code anymore.
Thank you so much, sir, for your answers. Now I would like to call the anchor.
We will now open the stage for more questions from the audience. Shreya.
Sir, you talked about talent in the semiconductor industry, right? So can you tell us more about what does it mean to have talent and where should we start?
Good question again. Semiconductor is a one word, right? Now think about semiconductor. What is semiconductor involved? So there are so many things in semiconductor, right? First of all, doing a chip design, right? Chip design, which Guptaji's son can tell you more about it. Even my son can tell you because my son works for ARM and he can tell you more about it. But that is to do a chip design, it has so many components into it. So that's one section. Then another one is once you do a chip design, you have to validate it. So validation is another part. It requires a different talent, right? So different knowledge. Then once you make a chip, so then the process of making a chip. Making a chip is a completely separate technology, design and everything. It requires some, all this high-tech machinery to do it and every fabrication and everything. And then once you get the chip, you have to validate it, test it, making sure that it works according to what you design and all these things. And some of the chip may not work out the way it was designed, right? And then you have to make sure that you write the drivers, you write the software to run the chip. Okay, so there are different talent in semiconductor industry. The one which I was talking about, which is the biggest challenge, is semiconductor design and the manufacture. So the manufacturing part, I can tell you one of the company which I'm part of it right now, doing as a consulting. The CEO of that company set up so many semiconductor factories in US, in Malaysia also, right? Now, it requires completely different talent. And again, it's not just mechanical, civil, it's not even electrical, so or electronics. So there's a completely different talent required, right? So again, that's why I'm saying this. Semiconductor, when people say, oh, we are semiconductor 1.0, semiconductor 2.0, recently people talk about it. But there are so many components. What I more talk about is that still there is a big demand for the chip design. And one of the things that what I heard about it, our semiconductor minister has done it that license from all the big industries in US, they license the technology, their technology for the learning. And they give it to, India signed a contract with them. So the Indian government can give those know-how to the university for learning purpose, nothing for the design for the product or anything. And hopefully we can figure it out how we can get technology in faculty and everything. And this is what I was more talking about it. But the other part in the manufacturing, set up the manufacturing, in Baroda, we have a mechanical engineers, mechanical factories, civil engineers, everything. There's a lot of talent and they will get a lot of businesses.
My question is, you said that the cell towers are not good for human body or environment. So why then they are more in public locality?
Actually, you have to stay a certain distance from the antenna. That's the only requirement. And again, when you are close to like almost 1 meter, it radiates maximum electromagnetic energy. When you are 10 meter away, it's very less. When you are 20 meter away, it's very less. So you don't have to go too close to that antenna. The second thing is, which is not known in the industry and nobody talks about it, even in US by the way. So this is very well-known fact and people know it, but they don't want to talk about it. So just to give you an idea, in a wireless industry, if you are in a cell site, you have some event going on, you want the maximum capacity so that you can support maximum users. So what do, you increase the power to the RF so that you can get more users. So when you increase the power, it radiates more, right? So the distance becomes more. Now, there is no control by the government standards or any. Actually, there is a standard, but nobody wants to follow it, right? So let's say wireless carrier, right, can increase the power. Oh, there is some event going on and users are not making the calls or going through it. They can increase the power to do that. There's a limitation. And they can do manual, they can change the parameters and do it, not manually like this, but they can change the parameter, do it. There are limitations into it. And people are not following the rules and regulations. But one of the biggest thing what I see is the challenge for here is that the service provider say, oh, you put the cell tower on your building, we'll pay you rent. They don't tell you what is the danger about it. Right? And again, that's the reason what I'm saying that again, certain distance, because without knowing, people can go close to it. For cleaning purpose, for whatever purpose, right? Maintenance purpose. Think about the maintenance engineer. People get burned and they can impact the brain, everything, right? So these are the kind of thing that is hidden thing, but at the same time, people have to be careful. The biggest challenge is from the cell tower, you need a bigger pipe to go to the data center, right? Where a lot of processing is done with the data. So you need a fiber. So the challenge for the service provider, they have to install fiber to all the way to there, right? The fiber line which is hanging, some of the things sometimes there, right? So these are the things that for the convenience purpose, some service provider will do it, right? The good thing about the 5G, like again, when you ask me the question, what is the difference in 5G? Even the 5G, you can have a small cells, which does not radiate so much energy, but you can do a small a coverage. Let's say you can put the cell site, small cell site indoor here, and it can cover this entire area. So you don't need the outside coverage. So you are offloading the outside coverage into here, right? The cell site here. And that's the benefit of 5G by the way. So these are the things you can do. And this is the one which I was telling in the Statue of Unity when you go into the visit, the main entrance. Outside you get 5G. When you go inside you get 4G. I said, why don't you guys put the small cells, which is not radiating much, you can get the coverage for it. And that is much better rather than going to the Wi-Fi. Question here.
Yeah, you have a question. Okay.
Make it the last question.
One more question, then we'll proceed towards the next thing.
Good evening, sir. I am a final year student of electrical engineering, and currently I did a workshop of semiconductor IISc training. So over there, they taught some of the software, like other software that perform the simulation and got how we start. So my question is, as a electrical engineer or electronics engineer, what software we should learn which are currently implementing in the semiconductor domain, and which will help us to get absorbed in the semiconductor domain.
Good question, and I think this is the kind of a questions, and this is a kind of a thing that we can go in more detail on, because there are so many software available to do the chip design, right? Depends upon which company processor you use. There are different softwares available. Like again, if you are designing with a certain microprocessor or something like that, so, but the fundamental softwares are similar. But then what you do eventually, it may be different, right? It may be tied to their software, hardware technology, because some of them want to make it proprietary, so that they create like that. That is the reason, right? But see, that's the one of the things which I was telling. The Indian government contracted with all the big companies to get all the licenses available for the learning purpose, right? So then whether it's a company called ARM, Intel, AMD, or NVIDIA also, right? So these are the kind of a thing can be done. But naturally, the good part is that once you learn one, it will be easy to pick up another. So don't worry about that, which one you want to learn or anything. Just learn one and understand the fundamental of it. What is the use case for it? How do you use it? What is the end result for it? And the main thing is that once you design it, once you get familiar with it, learning the second one will be piece of cake for you.
Thank you, sir, for such motivating insights. As we conclude this session, I would now like to invite Mr. Anup Potiala, governance team member of MSU Vision 2020, to formally extend our heartfelt gratitude.
Thank you. I don't think I need to thank Bharat. He's part of our governance team and is an alumni. So, Bharat, but anyway, thanks for coming, sparing time, and giving us such a insightful lecture to the young students. And I hope that you'll be able to grasp some of the things. Many thanks to the governance team members. We have Sandeep Verma coming from the Bay Area, Kulbhushan Gupta, and Arun Gorodala. Thank you very much for coming. Thanks to the people here who have conducted this great program for the questions and framing. Thank you to the HOD of Chemical, Dr. Nitin Bade, for sparing this beautiful auditorium. And last, two more thanks is one is thank you to all the students who have waited after the classes to attend this program and hear Bharat Shah and his ideas and what is the future of semiconductor industry. And lastly, As always, many thanks to the ambassadors. Again, a fabulous job done. They keeping doing it. They have done it earlier and they are keeping it. Thank you very much.
Can I say something also? One of the things what Anup said, our Vision 2020, the whole purpose for us is to interact with students. One thing I can tell you that we are all reachable, by the way. So don't afraid. I can give my example. When I graduated, went for my visa here in consulate, my father was with me. The consulate rejected my visa. So my father said, what the hell is this? I mean, what is the reason this, got rejected? So then he requested a special meeting with the consulate general to say, okay, can you say, what is the reason? Can you tell us what it is? The problem for me that time was I was not communicating properly. I was afraid. But my father told me, don't be afraid. Just reach out, just talk and communicate. They are also human beings. They are not like somebody can just get you for something. So this really helped me, and I can tell you in my career, working at Nokia, Qualcomm, or even in the industry, I can approach anybody to the CEO level without any hesitation. Even I still have my ex-bosses who are the CEO of the companies and everything. I can reach out to them without hesitation. So my request to you guys is that we are available, freely reach out. And if any question you have, just request one-on-one. Again, a session on a WhatsApp call, doesn't matter where we are in the world, we are reachable. And I know Anup and Kulpesh are only two people in the ground here, but we are reachable anytime, anywhere. So, and this is a part of the good thing about the wireless communication, telecom industry, that you can reach anywhere in the world, except just look at the time zone. That's the only thing I can tell you. But don't be afraid. Just approach somebody, say hello or whatever, and just say, okay, this is what you are doing. If you have any question, you can talk that time or later on. Don't be afraid of anybody, even don't afraid of the dean, VC, or anybody also. Sorry.
Let's hear it for him again. A huge round of applause. Let us please rise to the national anthem, after which we will be proceeding to the refreshments.
जय गणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जगधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जय गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय 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 हे
Please be seated for 5 minutes. We'll be letting you know when we go out. We can now proceed, please.
I'm sorry guys, just a sec. So as you all might know that Toastmasters Club is organizing a debate competition on 13th of Feb. So register yourselves. The QR code will be available by tonight 9 p.m. On the Instagram page of Toastmasters Club. Thank you so much.
Please proceed.
Picture, yeah. Okay, picture with the ambassador. I don't think us. No, picture with the ambassador. Yeah.